Hello, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful episode of your Potluck Podcast. This is your butt-hurt disclaimer. Parental and/or sponsor advisory. Our goal is to offer a recovery-based podcast with a twist of humor. The expressions and opinions voiced here are those of the individual speaker and are not of the collective. Our primary purpose is to carry the message and to help others to achieve sobriety. We don't really need to be original, but we certainly don't want to be extra crispy. So what's up, Woody? How you week?
It's been good, man. It's been good. Work's been getting better. You know, still, I'm getting tired now. Wore out. I got a promotion. And this promotion entails me to do a whole lot more moving. So I got wore out for real, but it's been good though. It's been good. I'm on the path of climbing up the ladder. And I feel like, just one day at a time. Just one day at a time.
Right. That's the only thing we got. So, I don't want to get on my workplace rant, really. But I will share just this last week. So I've been struggling there quite a bit just to drag my mangy tail in there and then to keep my mangy tail there all day. Man, what a task. So I applied for another job. I hadn't heard nothing, and there wasn't no really contact info to harass them through.
Yeah.
So I found every job that they had posted and applied for all of them.
Yeah.
And then I found an employee who worked from and asked, I said, is there some kind of contact number I can get to harass these people?
Yeah.
And I got one.
Yeah.
And so I called, left a message, and about a day later I still ain't heard nothing. I said, is there another contact number I can get to harass these people? And she gave me another one. So I texted that one, and I got a text back that said, we see your application. I was like, all right, thank you. Have a blessed day, And right after that, I walk into the sandblasting booth at work, and I traveled in time.
Yeah.
I smell straight crack rock.
Yeah. It's rough.
I was like, what in the hell?
Mm-hmm.
I know the smell.
Yeah.
I know that smell. There's no disputing what that smell is.
It's distinctive,
And, I did go get another individual to come. Like, you got to come here. Please, come here. And they walked in there and it didn't seem like they smelled what I smelled. And I told them what I smelled. And, this individual is in recovery as well. Not only that, in a supervisory role at the company. I didn't find any comfort in their response. It was very nonchalant. I'm not asking that you call the popo.
Right.
I am asking you to show some level of concern.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe not my level, but some level.
Some, yeah. At least a little bit.
Yeah. So 1 hour later, I got a text message from the place I applied asking if I want to come for an interview. Well, yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the next day, I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I went and got a form filled out, took it to my supervisor, and told him I had an appointment the next day.
Yeah.
I went to my appointment, and they offered me a job. I accepted said job, and then go back to work, and go into my boss's office again and tell him, I said, I've got a job offer and I'll be starting not this week, but next week. And he said, okay. I said, okay. So I'm gathering that it's quite mutual.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Like I talked to somebody else about this. I don't know that if I would have been offered a $3 an hour pay raise that I would have stayed.
Right.
It's just how much I cannot find comfort there.
Yeah.
My spirit will not settle.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever had that problem at any workplace
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
I wish I could put a finger on it, but I cannot. I think it's because, to me, it's not good when my employer holds me back.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm only limited to what my employer limits me to.
Right.
And when I keep expressing, I've done everything, I've conquered everything you've given me.
Yeah.
Basically, give me more.
Yeah.
Give me more.
Yeah.
Not money.
Allow me to do more.
More tasks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want to know the shop. I want to know the whole thing, bro.
Yep. Yep.
Let me eliminate myself for contention from this spot, that spot, or the other.
Yeah. Yep.
And I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. I would think that if I owned a company and ran a company, my company is only as good, just like in recovery,
Yeah.
just like in anything else really that you want success in.
Yeah.
We're only as good as our weakest link. So if you strengthen your weakest link,
Yeah. That was when I first got into my job. Like, my first day, I learned how to run 5 different machines. This is just in one day. And then after they realized like I was good here and then I was good here, I was only at those 2 places. Mm-hmm. I took it upon myself to learn everything else that I've learned since I've been there. You know what I mean? And even when I got this promotion now, my second shift plant manager come to me. He said, "You can't start until June 1st." And I asked him, I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because we gotta get someone trained in your spot." I said, "Well, in order to get someone trained in my spot, you gotta put someone back there." You know what I'm saying? You guys aren't putting anyone back there.
Right.
You guys have been knowing for 2 weeks now that I'm trying to get this position, that I was, ready to move up, and not the fact that I'm ready to move up, but just the fact that like if anything were to happen, whether I had to, my drug court graduation is coming up, I'm not gonna be there that day. So you guys know all this, and you guys aren't training anyone. You know what I mean? There's only a couple other people that know that position other than myself, and you need them other places. So you need to put someone back there so I can train them, because there's going to be a time where I'm not there, or there's going to be a time when I move up and someone's got to be put back there. So you got to put someone back there so I can train them.
Right.
And they don't want to do it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what are y'all going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I can't get, and I don't get me wrong, like I like the fact that I'm needed right there, you know what I mean? But still, it's like, bro, you guys got to put someone here, because there's going to be a time where I'm not here. You know what I mean? And then y'all gonna, well, I wish Woody was here. You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't need to do that. If you train everyone in different positions, cross-train and things like that, you wouldn't have that problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got certain people that only run certain machines because they're only good at these machines, but you don't really know where they're good at, except for on that spot, because you won't move anywhere else.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like that. Like you said, you're only as strong as your weakest link. To me, the weakest links are the ones that only run one machine.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I said, I took it upon myself to learn everything else that I've learned since I've been there.
It's like having a Swiss Army knife with only one thing.
Yeah. What's the point of the Swiss Army knife if it's just got one?
It's a one-use, multi-purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yesterday's reading was, it mentioned how the rooms is like a spiritual kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized right then how grateful I was for the spiritual kindergarten.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It allowed me to ease into that. If it weren't for a spiritual kindergarten, I never would have prayed. I never would have developed a relationship with God. I never would seek guidance from God.
Yeah.
I would have never worked the program. I would have never worked the steps. I would have never tried to apply the principles in my life. And with all that being said, when I would have ran into that sandblasting booth the other day, there's a multitude of ways that could have went. I mean, I'll fly off the handle over some small stuff, bro. Quit my job over some stuff. I mean, walk out over that, you know.
Yep.
Or I would go back to the trap house.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, I time traveled in my mind in that instant. Like, I was, all these places at once, like, and you know, I don't know, man, it allowed me to reflect on some things. You know, I don't know if I told you or not, a few months back, before I really started struggling at work, and it only had to be God. He's like, put 2 weeks on, give him 2 weeks notice.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't even look for a job.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I remember that, yeah.
But what? You know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And I began to really struggle at work. So then about a month and a half later, it's like, give them 2 weeks. I was like, yo, I still ain't even look for a job. You know what I mean? Like, why would I give them 2 weeks notice?
Yeah.
And I just kept struggling, bro. It just kept getting worse.
Yeah.
You know, I began praying on it, and praying on it, and putting in applications and looking. And that's where the faith without works. You know, I know they say it a lot, faith without works is dead. I can pray to God and ask him, help me out with this job situation. Am I applying for jobs?
Right.
And then when I'm applying for jobs, am I reaching back out to the jobs I applied for? I was talking to somebody on the front porch. They was talking, we was both kind of sharing how we're struggling at work. And they like, oh, I put in 15 applications. I was like, well, are any of them ones that you want?
Right.
And on the ones that you want, have you contacted them further?
Right. Seeing what's going on, yeah.
And I was like, if they're jobs you want, I suggest you contact them and harass them until they either take out a restraining order or they give you a job.
Right.
One or the other.
One of the two is going to happen.
You have to show the urgency,
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. My grandfather worked at Ford. He was like a step under VP, all right, at Furnace Valley. And that's how he got the job, bro. He applied, and then he had my grandmother make his lunch, and he would go sit on the front steps and he'd sit there all day. He would eat his lunch.
Yeah.
And one day somebody would, can we help you? It's like, yeah, I applied for a job. I'm just waiting to talk to somebody about it.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and got a job.
Yeah.
And worked there. He retired from there and everything. You know what I mean?
That's powerful.
He swore, look, listen to this. He swore at first, when he could, he got a few good paychecks, he was going to buy him that Chevy Silverado.
Yeah.
He works at Ford.
Yeah.
He bought the Chevy Silverado. He parked it in the parking lot. He's like, guy, you can't park that here.
Yeah.
You can't bring it here. At that time, you couldn't.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Ford, you couldn't drive that thing to work, bro. Yeah. Different times, but same method.
Same method, same thing.
You know what I mean?
It works, So I had this similar situation. It wasn't I was at work Thursday night, and like I said, not everyone that I work with obviously is in recovery, but there's a lot of them that are. So there's this young cat, bro. It just started like, I'd say probably 3 months ago. Anyway, I'm in my car, and I went over to Sam's car to get, I think it was Tylenol or something out of the car, and he was parked next to Sam. And I'm in the car or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, bro, do you smoke?" I thought he said, "Hey, can I get a cigarette?" Or like, "Hey, can I get a smoke?" And I was like, "Yeah, bro." So I get a cigarette out of my pack, and I was walking around the car to hand it to him. And as I got close, he's holding, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, "Whoa, nah, bro. I thought you was asking me for a cigarette." He's like, "Nah, I asked you if you smoked." And I was like, "Oh shit, nah, bro. You know, I don't do it no more." That was like a reminder, you know what I mean, how quick that could have been, you know what I'm saying? And I say I'm grateful that I can think things through to the end today, you know what I mean? Like there's been other instances in the past week or so where, like you said, it's like a reminder, you know what I mean, where you could go, where you could end up. There's a girl that just started about a month ago. I don't think it's been a month. It could be like 2 weeks. And she wasn't at work Thursday. Everyone's like, "Well, where's she at?" Well, that night, like 11 o'clock, I got a message. And it popped up. It was fucking busted. So I looked at it and I was like, "Ain't no way." She got arrested for possession of methamphetamine by the Narcotics Task Force. You know what I mean? That night when she left work Wednesday night, I'm like, bro. And then she was back at work Friday.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? So Friday I asked her, I said, "You doing all right?" She's like, "Yeah, just a little sluggish." I said, "I bet you are."
Not bad.
But it's just it's just a reminder, man.
Dude,
like,
that just reminded me. Talking about a little sluggish. No. Hating life, bro.
Yes.
Everything about it right then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yep.
And now I think, like I said, I don't know if I said it last week or not, you know, but when I come in recovery, I'm praying. God, give me this. God, help me with that. God, give me that. You know what I'm saying? God, get me out of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then he does all this stuff. I get better. I get all these things that I thought I wanted, and now I end up bitching about everything I done got.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Bitching about the job, bitching about the people I work for, you know what I'm saying, work with. You know, bitching about the things I got that I done went out and got.
Yep.
So I sitting at me and Bree sitting at Waffle House the other night, get something to eat. And I ain't been like this the whole time.
Yeah.
But the smell of pot, bro, was almost nauseating.
Yeah.
It was really just almost nauseating. Look, my ex used to make cookies all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Happy cookies.
Yeah.
So when I smell pot, I smell cookies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why.
Right. Yeah.
It's stuck, and
it's just
it's stuck in my nose or something. Right. I smell pot. I smell cookie with it. You know. I don't know. It's just real. I can't even eat.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got a contact, maybe. I don't know. It's just odd, dude. I ain't been like that the whole time. I mean, even at 6 months, I was sitting out back at the Waffle House, and the old boy had walked up, and man, I made a circle was bigger than my pinky, and blazed it right in front of me, and I just got up off the rail, walked in, got my stuff, and I just left. And said, "Oh, my bad." I said, "No, dude, I ain't. Please don't.
Yeah.
Don't stop doing you. Talk to me.
Right.
You know, I'm not asking you to.
Yeah.
I'll talk to y'all later.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's it. But the other night, man, it was just, I don't know, a little bit nauseating.
Yeah.
So somebody said something the other night in a meeting, and I've been carrying it with me. Spoken on it a couple of times. I actually heard my last sponsor say something like this. He was celebrating 5-6 years or something, and he was feeling good about himself, like.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Almost throwing himself a celebratory.
Yeah.
He said his sponsor walked over to him, good job. He's like, you want to throw you a parade? You want your cookies? What do you want? He's like, you wasn't supposed to be putting that shit in your arm anyway, bro.
Yeah.
You're only doing what you're supposed to have been doing or not doing what you wasn't supposed to be doing all along.
The whole time, yeah.
Well, so somebody had mentioned something like that. One of our family members had said, you're really not doing anything different. You're just not doing that. Where they took it as a slap.
Yeah.
And they kind of had to offer that other perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't hear the tone, I didn't hear the delivery, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But, it is the fact of the matter.
It is. It absolutely is. The only reason why we celebrate is to give the newcomer hope.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Also,
when I hear that, all I'm going to think about is, how dare you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I can't believe you say that.
Yeah.
I don't think about the whole life.
Right.
The career I made.
Yep.
Of lying to them. Maybe not lying to them. I didn't want to keep doing what I swore out to myself too.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing it again.
Right.
But I still went out and done it.
Oh yeah.
I still stole her shit again.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was still locked up again. I'm still going through court troubles again.
Yep.
And all that.
Yep.
But then when I get a year in me, and how dare you don't believe
that I'm doing something
different.
Yep. Yep.
It's the only way I can do that, along with amends. Mm-hmm. A lot of amends. The only way I'll make that amends, or even change that perception, and the perception of me like that may never change.
Mm-hmm.
But the only real hope I got is not telling you what I'm doing.
Showing you.
It's only showing the effects of the program in my life.
I'm going to tell you what felt good, man. My grandma passed away. When she passed away, I'm sitting at the house. My entire family showed up, except for my dad's side. It was all my aunts, my mom, my brother, my sister, my cousins. Everyone was there. My one cousin and my aunt, that's her mama. These are the same two that would just drag my name through the mud, even though what they were saying was true. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there. At this point, I was like almost 2 years clean from everything. So my aunt, she gets there first. I'm sitting there talking to her, and she's like, "I can see the difference already in you from being really clean. Like you're not just telling me you're clean. I see that you're clean. You're obviously doing something different." She's like, "You've had your car. You've been, got a job. You've been doing these different things." My cousin shows up, and up to this point, she still tries to drag my name through the mud. But she's standing in front of me. She's like, "You really are sober, ain't you?" I was like, "Yeah, from everything. I don't do anything."
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't have that desire to smoke weed. I don't have that desire to get high no more. Not to drink. Not to do anything. I don't want to do any of that. And she's like, "I'm proud of you." That made me feel good. Not like a pat on my ass, like, "Oh, you're doing what you're supposed to do." Not like that, but just to hear the same people that drag my name through the mud constantly be like, "Yeah, I'm proud of you." You know what I mean? And then my little brother just say the same thing. Like, that made me feel good. You know what I mean? It's not that I'm looking for an approval, because irregardless of, what these people think about me, whether they're family or not, it's still not going to change what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And as far as like that celebration thing, like, I didn't want to celebrate the first year or the second year or the third year, but I did, because how many times did I go to a meeting and see someone else celebrate, and when I did, that gave me hope that I'll make it there too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that was really like the purpose behind the reason I wanted to celebrate. You know what I mean? Is because I know there's someone in the meeting that was probably feeling the way I felt, hopeless, helpless. You know what I mean? And I just give a little bit of hope. Like the message, I've been thinking about this too. You know, the message that I carry today is hope. You know what I mean? As to where the message I was carrying before was destruction is like the easiest way for me to put that. You know what I mean? That is the difference. The action behind the program is the difference. You know what I mean? Yes, we were supposed to be doing this the whole time, but we weren't. You know what I'm saying? So I get the perception behind that. You know what I mean? Like I did all of these things. You know, I lied to you. I stole from you. I did this. I did that. I get that. But this is what I'm doing today. You know what I mean? And, you know, especially if it comes down to an amends, like if I need to make an amends with you, then we can make an amends. If you don't want that amends, or if you don't think that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, or whatever it is that you feel because I'm where I am today, that's on you. You know what I mean? I did my part though, you know, and I'm just going to keep doing that. I can't do nothing different. I'm not going to do anything different. You know what I mean? And I see the point of where you're not even doing anything different, but at the same time, like if you don't see it, I feel it. So that's all that matters.
Well, see, and then like I said, the one saying that, the normie, saying that, we're not having to deal with anything of that caliber.
Yep.
Or needing a program to work in their life. Okay. They aren't, possibly were, but possibly were not meaning it in a negative way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just I don't know what I'm trying to look for here. They don't understand, one, what they're really saying, and how it's being received from one of us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't believe it was meant to be the dagger that it was taken as.
I don't think it was either.
You know what
I don't think it was. And at the same time, it comes down to, I was reading the other day, I'm going to butcher this, and I know I am, but basically it was in the sense of like, how was it put? I can't let what people say to me or about me affect me in that sense. Like, yes, you know, the Bible says that, you know, words are like daggers. You know what I'm saying? That is true. That is true. You know what I'm saying? The tongue is a very powerful thing. At the same time, though, it's like the perception, like the delivery. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it was meant to be like that either. I think it was the person that perceived it. I think it was that perception of what was being said, how they took it is what. That's where the danger part comes in. You know what I mean?
Right.
If it was me, you know, 6 months in, maybe a year in, well, I can't say a year in, but I'd say definitely about 6 months in, I would have used that as a reason to go back out. You know. I wouldn't say so much a year when I got to my year point, because my mind has already started to change to where it's at now. You know what I'm saying? And I think that plays a real big part. Like when I was at my exit interview, they asked me a bunch of different questions, and one of the questions they asked me was like, what's the difference, or how to put it, when I got into the program, when was it that you realized like this is what you wanted to do? And I was honest with them. I didn't really get to that point until I was in about phase 3. That was about 8 months in. You know what I'm saying? Almost 9 months in. And I didn't come to this conclusion overnight. You know what I'm saying? Like when I got into phase 1, I didn't want to do it. when I got into phase 2, I still didn't want to do it. It wasn't until, and by this point, like, everything had already started to work. I had a job, I bought my car already, like, everything's starting to slowly progress to where it is now. But my mindset really didn't start changing until I was in like phase 3, so it's about like 9 months in. You know what I mean? I'm almost at the year point, but not quite there. You know, and there was things that started happening, and I still didn't. It's like, I don't know if I want. It's like on the fence. You know what I mean? I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to do that. But it was at that, like right around that time, about 9 months in, where I was like, okay, this is what I want. It's so much better on this side. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of that is just like the perception of that person. Like, I've been told for a long time I have a warped perception, probably. But at the same time, like, I feel like I just look at things differently now because I can put myself in your shoes. I have the ability now to put myself in someone else's shoes, you know, as to where before, like, it was, no, you're not putting yourself in my shoes. You don't know what I've been through, you know? And the fact that I've been through the things I've been through, now I can see, like, you know, this person probably didn't mean it like that. You know what I mean? And I know how to, I don't do it perfectly every single time, but now I have the ability to, like, play the tape through, you know?
Yep.
Like, maybe they didn't mean it like that. Maybe if I put myself in their shoes, maybe, you know, I am supposed to be doing this the whole time. I really wasn't supposed to be doing that. You know what I mean? And I feel like that, in that same sense, I feel like that right there is like an attaboy. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't say congratulations, or they didn't say, hey, I'm proud of you, but like, I am doing what I was supposed to be doing the whole time. Now, you know what I mean? And I guess that would be the other perception that I gained from that. It's like, and it is a kind of like I'm proud of you moment. You know what I mean? For someone to have been doing the exact opposite for so long, you know what I mean? Doing drugs and just running amok, you know, that was that could be my perception of that. That is them saying, I'm proud of you. That is them saying, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So when you talk about the words are like a dagger, you know, but society don't tell us that. What was we taught in elementary school?
Sticks and stones.
Break your bones.
Words never hurt. Yep.
Yeah. The desensitization in society as a whole.
Yeah.
You know, they tell me that, matter of fact, they tell me all these things that are good for me are not.
Yeah.
You know, a servant. I don't want to be a servant.
Right.
I want to serve somebody.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
But that's where the spirit's fed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The words are extremely harmful.
Yep.
They can kill.
Oh, yeah.
Kill.
Yeah.
You know? The whole unattractiveness of being godly, you know what I'm saying? Of following something other than your own will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hell, AA for that matter.
Yeah.
NA, you know. You know, it's okay to have, to admit that I'm an addict. You know what I mean? The healing can begin. You know what I mean? And that's what kept me out of the room so long. The stigmas behind them. The judgment, the whole, you know, well, people gonna look at me different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the whole, man, the scripture that keeps popping in my head. I don't know what book, so, you know, sue me. Do not conform to this world, but be renewed by your mind.
Yeah.
You know, And that's what's taking place.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've got a whole new. My life has been renewed.
Absolutely.
And it continues to be the case. The more that I seek God's guidance,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. I realize the power in the words that come out of my mouth, the level of harm that they can be.
Yeah.
You know, I also realize how much they can help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like I'm gonna call it a double-edged sword because, but at the same time, like the other side isn't like painful. You know what I mean? They can help.
So, for instance, you know, I like to get laughs
Mm-hmm.
in meetings.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, one time I end a share, I say, nobody told you they love you.
There's probably a reason
You
for
might
that.
want to look at it.
Yeah.
So then I had somebody come up to me and it's like, you know, you said that and my parents never told me they loved me. And I
Yeah.
was like, I apologize.
Yeah.
I won't say that again.
Yeah.
No, that's what I said. It's like, no. You know, a lot of times I need to ask myself, what is it I'm looking for when I'm saying
Things.
stuff?
Yeah.
You know, the group might find it funny,
Right.
but if I harm one person,
Yeah.
it's not my goal.
Right.
If it harms one, then it's harmful.
It's harmful. Period. Yeah. Yeah. You know, the other day when I was going through it with my roommate, you know, I was sharing, and I realized after I shared, that could have been harmful to one person because I'm almost positive one person did walk out after I did share. That wasn't my intention, you know what I'm saying? But I was, you know,
I mean, was the one person drunk?
I don't know. He could have been.
Okay, not the same person. Okay, never mind. I digress.
What now?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
You remember the text message I sent you?
Yeah.
After the meeting
Yeah.
where you need to calm down?
Oh no, not that person.
Yeah,
No, this was last week.
Yeah.
It was last week. I don't know if that was the reason they did walk out. I really don't. It could have been. I don't really know, but I realized after I said that, like, people laugh. I laughed. You know what I mean? But it's like you said, like if it harms one person, then it can be harmful. Period. And
I know what you're talking about.
you know what I'm talking about? And I don't think that it was harmful, but it could have been. And I think that's the thing. Like if I feel like what I'm saying could possibly harm someone, I probably shouldn't say it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean, like I said, I was going through it though. At that time, I was just trying to express. That's the easiest way for me to express like what I was feeling at that point. You know what I mean? And in my sorry, not sorry. You know what I mean? Like sorry, not sorry. That's kind of how I feel. Like because I'm expressing how I feel in the meeting, then that's what it's there for. I'm supposed to express that. I'm not sorry if you feel offended by it. Maybe you needed to hear it because you probably been feeling like this too. You know what I'm saying?
Which goes back to the whole thing
Yeah.
the family member said to the one.
Right.
It's truth.
Yeah.
There's truth there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want to hear the truth. It's
Yeah.
hard to hear.
Yep.
It's hard to handle.
Yep.
You know?
And I think that is, I'm gonna call it a gift and a curse because now, like at a meeting when I'm sharing, I'm probably saying something that someone else is feeling, but it was afraid to say it. You know what I mean? Now, I'm gonna try my best to not harm anyone. My whole goal isn't to harm anyone. My goal in life, my purpose in life that I've been trying to reach is to inspire on a bigger scale. I just want to uplift anyone and everyone. If out of a group of people, if I can inspire one person to do something good, if I can inspire one person to go to the next level, then I'm helping. You know what I mean? In a group, if I harm one person, I feel like I failed my mission, or I'm failing my mission. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I think that's where the gift and the curse comes in, because yes, I probably am saying something that someone else is afraid to say, but at the same time, like, I could also be saying something that's hurting this person. You know what I mean? And it's like you said, the delivery and the perception. You know what I mean? And
what are my motives behind what I'm saying?
That part. You know what I mean? And you know,
I had somebody ask me that one time, because at the end of the meeting on the Lord's Prayer, you know, I said, "Who slept with our mother?"
Yeah.
Our Father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was asked, you know, are you doing these things to get a laugh? Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't see the harm in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's difficult still to see the harm in it, but you know.
Yeah.
That's. And then, or who never showed up at a dance recital or any of our sports games? Our Father.
God.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Sometimes the truth is,
Yeah.
we're all in the same boat, bro.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know. Know your audience, I guess.
I feel like that's what it comes down to, is like know your audience, you know. I don't really like calling them an audience though, because it's not like I'm not like in a play, you know.
Right.
But still.
Read the room.
Yeah, there you go. That's a better way to put it.
So, what about one tool that helped you?
In sobriety?
Early recovery.
Early recovery? I mean, I can give you a couple, but I guess
And then how do you actually use that?
honestly, I think the biggest thing that helped me early on in recovery, and honestly still helps me today, next to the obvious, like the prayer and the meditation, the biggest tool I used was the fellowship.
Yeah.
Just having someone to talk to, you know what I mean? Early in recovery, we all go through things, especially when we're early in recovery, we go through things. But if it wasn't for this one individual, I wouldn't be where I am spiritually. He kind of like put me on that path to kind of show me the way, you know what I mean? But if it wasn't for that, and if it wasn't for him just talking to me every day, you know what I mean? Bouncing ideas off each other, talking about what we've been going through, you know, I don't think that I would be where I am. Like, see, like, cause when I got to sober living, I was it. He'd already been there like 2, maybe 3 months. So he'd already been there for a minute. And he's like, first he was showing me the way in sober living, trying to show me these are the rules, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. And then as we got closer, you know what I'm saying, it went from that right there to like we just was talking, like, this is the things I'm going through, this is the things I'm going through, you know. And then like I realized early on that if I didn't have that individual to express how I felt, I don't think I would have expressed how I felt ever.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that is probably one of the biggest. I mean, I'll say next to prayer and meditation, because, you know, when I'm early in recovery, not only did I not know who God was, but I didn't think that prayer worked, because how many times before did I pray? But the thing is like I was praying with no action. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, you know, I would pray, and this is where the faith, not necessarily, well, the faith without works is dead, absolutely, but it was more like I walk by faith and not by sight. This is where that part played in effect, because as I started doing the things I'm supposed to do and I'm praying at the same time, that's when I noticed things are starting to change. Irregardless of the things changing while I'm praying before, but me not putting no action in, I didn't pay attention to that. But now I'm doing the right thing, it's starting to change. And I think the biggest tool for me was definitely having that person to talk to. It doesn't have to be a group of people. It doesn't have to be in a meeting. It didn't have to be, literally, like, me and him, we had spent a lot of time, like, I was the only driver at the time, so I would take him to work whenever he needed to go. He worked third shift, so I would take him to work, you know what I mean? And then sometimes I'd have to pick him up, you know, early in the morning before we had to go test him, before all that. So, like, we just spent a lot of time, like, just talking and chilling. Like, he was, like I said, the one that showed me the ropes. And then even furthermore, he expanded my spirituality by putting me on to different tactics, different things that I can use to grow my spirituality for real. And if it wasn't for that, I think that I wouldn't be, I can't say I wouldn't be where I am, but it would have taken me longer to get to where I am. You know what I mean? Like, that was really probably the biggest game changer.
You may be where you are, but you wouldn't be how you are.
That part, yeah. Like, so I was telling my sponsor this. He asked me, he said, how did he word it? He was like, what got you to the point where, when you were in early recovery, where you were like, okay, I want this? And I've told this story before, and I'll tell it now. So, me and this individual, we would go talk to, they were, what are they called? They were the kids, man, but they were like the ones that got kicked out of their schools.
Juvenile.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that.
But you know what I'm getting at. You know what I'm saying? The kids that were in trouble. There you go. So we're sitting there, we're talking to these kids, man, and me and this, I'm gonna say your name, bro. I love you. I hope you're not mad at me, bro. His name is Rich. Okay. I love this man. He's a good dude, man. Anyway, we're sitting there. We always sat next to each other when we was at these different events, because we bounced a lot off of each other, you know. And this kid is sitting closest to us at the end of this table, and he lifts up his foot at one point, and you know, I'm a skateboarder, so I can see, I know what a hole in your shoe and where it is, especially because it's at the toe of your shoe. It's from you stopping your skateboard. Like, I know what that looks like. Anyway, so Rich looks at me and he's like, man, I want to ask that kid what size shoe he wears. And I'm like, what do you mean? So I see him lift up his foot again, and I'm like, okay, now I understand. Because after everyone gets done talking to the kids and whatnot, we're about to leave, and Rich goes up to the teacher that was there and was like, hey, can I ask this boy a question? She was like, yeah, what were you gonna ask him? She was like, I just want to know what size shoe he wears. She's like, yeah, that's fine, you know. So he goes up to the little boy and he's like, hey man, what size shoe do you wear? And he's like, oh, like a 10. Rich took off his shoes. Brandon, I'm talking about, look, bro, he just bought these shoes. It's a pair of Nikes, Air Forces. Just bought them, like, I'm talking about maybe 2 days before this point. I think that was the first time he wore them, to be honest with you. But anyway, he takes off his shoes and he gives them to the kid. He's like, here, man, I want to give this to you. Kid's like, nah, bro. No. He's like, here, I want to give this to you. Like, I'm not asking you for no money. I don't want nothing back from it. Please, just take the shoes. And the kid did. He walked out of the school barefooted. not because it was like, hey, look at me, not because it was like, hey, I want some money for it, like, but because he felt better by doing for someone else. You know what I'm saying? And I think that point is when I wanted that. You know what I mean? Because I think that's whenever I became more selfless in that point, because, you know, I had spent most of my time, most of my life worried about what I can get from other people or what I can do for myself, and not realizing that it's not all about me. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And when I seen that, and I seen the joy that it brought him by being able to do for someone else that may not have been able to do for themselves at that point, that's what I wanted. And that was really whenever things started to change for me, because not only did I realize that I wanted this, but I realized that it's not all about me. You know what I mean? There's other people out there that might have it worse. Plus, like, these kids, like, I was one of those kids. I didn't want to go to school. I was getting in trouble constantly. I was skipping school constantly. You know what I mean? That was, if I can help someone to not do that, especially at that age, then I will. You know what I mean? And that was really, for me, the game changer. You know what I mean? So if it wasn't for Rich kind of showing me the way, what worked for him, it may not work for everyone else. You know what I'm saying? What worked for me, that worked for him, it might not work for you. It might not work for other people, but it worked for me. It was working for him. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, you know, if it wasn't for that, having that person, I think that's the biggest thing, is just having someone to just talk to. You know what I mean? Whether it can just be one person. It don't have to be a whole group, but just one person to talk to makes a difference. You know, and not just one person to talk, but someone that cares. You know what I mean? I feel like when you got someone that really cares about your well-being and about, like, just you know what I mean? That makes a whole difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think for me, so for starters, when I come in the rooms this time, I don't know, man, what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I don't know why I came in the rooms. It was suggested it might not be a bad idea. I really looked sickly. I was really bad. I was really, really bad. I didn't care for life at all. There wasn't anything in life that I could find to be grateful for. A couple things comes to mind. And just to be different. One was the meetings.
Yeah.
In between using time.
Yeah.
With all this being said, I was still on my green card.
Yeah.
Okay. I was always thinking about getting high. When was the next high? I mean, this is cold.
Yeah.
I was still on my medicine, the weed.
Right.
That was my medicine, though.
Right.
I didn't see where it's any different, and it still really don't today. How it's any different than Suboxone. Any of these other maintenance drugs. Okay.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I would completely advocate for weed over Suboxone any day.
Yeah.
The only thing is, weed is my alcohol, and once I start to smoke, I'm going off to do
other things. Yeah.
My mind is totally different. Everything I'm just different.
Right.
But I couldn't get the coke out of my head. Everything was the next one. So when I began to catch myself thinking, whether I was in a meeting or out of a meeting, when I was thinking about a meeting, that was a win.
Yeah.
It may seem real small, but that was a big win. And then I would think about something that somebody shared in the meeting. And then I'd be in a meeting and I'd look around, well, where's so-and-so? They ain't here tonight. You know what I mean? Or I would be out of the meeting and I would almost audibly hear somebody announce themselves in a meeting.
Yeah.
Now these are all wins because they were just small fractions of time where I wasn't thinking about the next use.
Right.
That was very valuable.
Yeah.
The other thing, I really need to start doing this again, was the journaling.
Yeah.
Just in the first few months, they tell me that everyone else will see the program working in me before I will.
Yeah.
But the journaling is where I saw
the program working.
Because I could look back in the journaling and I could see the level of insanity.
Yeah.
In the stuff I was writing.
Yeah.
And not only that, but the handwriting would calm down as I kept going.
Right.
It'd be less scratchy and it'd be one handwriting style per page, whereas every other line was different.
Yeah.
It's like so many, I don't know, I'm going to say, split personalities would be writing on that page. Yeah. And I would look back on it, flip back a few pages, and I'm like, I wrote that shit.
Yeah. I can't even read that shit.
I can't. What was he talking about?
Yeah.
Oh man, some of the stuff.
Yeah.
I gotta go home and dig them back up.
So,
that's a great way to reflect on where I was.
Yeah. So when I was in the sober living house, I'm glad that you said that. We had to do pages, right? A lot of people's like, I don't understand why you gotta write these pages. Therapeutic writing. This is the reason why you write the pages. Yeah. I'm going to use it's almost in a form of journaling, right? Because we got to keep our pages. They would mark them off okay, you did them, and they give them right back to you.
Yeah.
A lot of times they would, hey, does anyone want their pages? If not, we're going to throw them away. I have a lot of mine still. And I was looking through, and like you said, I can see the insanity. From when I first started into the program, into now, I can even see the difference in the way I write things. I don't like writing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like writing.
No, I don't I still have the story on my finger from first grade. This sucker, bro. It's another knuckle.
I thought I was the only one, bro. Yeah. For me now, I could say the meetings too is definitely another thing that really kept me going too, because I could see that I wasn't alone. You know what I mean? For me, I felt like I was always excluded out of everything. I was always the outcast. I was always seeking acceptance. I was doing all these things, and I just felt excluded from the world. You know what I mean? And I think that was the biggest part of me, wanting to really die, I'll say. It's because I was damn, ain't no one really want to be around me. I just, and coming to the meetings and seeing there's other people that feel the way I feel, whether I talk about it or not. There's other people that have felt what I felt, have gone through what I'm going through, or has the way out. That's another thing that really kept me going. Like I said, there's a couple different, I could probably give you at least 3, maybe even 5, honestly, different things that really helped me along the way in my early recovery. And even honestly still help me today, like I said, next to the prayer and the meditation was the other thing that really kind of helped me going. I didn't know, next to prayer, I didn't know what meditation looked like. When this is back in 2011, I was at a 28-day facility, and every morning we did yoga for 30 minutes, and then we meditated for 30 minutes after that. And I'm not gonna lie to you, a lot of the times my meditation, I would just be sleeping. You know what I mean? Because it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Why am I meditating this early? And not to mention, I don't even know what that looks like. You just want me to close my eyes and sit here and expect me not to fall asleep? Right. You know what I mean? Now I woke up a couple times, bro. You snoring? I'm sorry. What you want me to do? So when I figured out, like, for me, I'll tell you the purpose for meditation for me is to allow God in the room. You know what I mean? And by me, like I told you before, the way I meditate, like usually I lay in my room or in my bed with the lights off, the TV's off. I lay my phone to the side. I don't look at it. Sometimes it's for 20 minutes, sometimes it's for 30 minutes, sometimes it's for an hour. It just honestly depends. But I'm not sleeping. I'm just literally laying there in the dark, and a lot of the times I'll pray first and then meditate, and then I'll pray afterwards. But it's the reason why I turn the lights off and I'm sitting in the dark is because, for me anyway, God will come to you, especially at your darkest point. He will come into the darkness. You know what I'm saying? And not that like I need the dark for him to come to me, but that's where I was when I first met him. I was at a very, very, very dark place in my life. And not to like revisit the darkness, but I feel better within myself when I'm in a dark space and I invite him in. Yeah. Does that make sense? And I don't know, every time I do that, I just feel more clear-headed, and I feel like every time I talk to God, I feel like I'm close to him, but just specifically in that moment, I feel closer to him. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I don't know, meditation was real, like I said, we can keep going. Like, I can give you all types of different ways that help me stay, on the path that I'm on right now, but I think the biggest one was having someone to talk to, the meetings, and then the prayer and the meditation. Those are probably the biggest things that really helped me,
Amen.
Yeah.
Oh.
We got money? Yeah.
I'm not sure how long we've been going.
I don't either. Oh man.
So I think we may have another guest next week. I think there was supposed to be one this week, but
yeah,
there seemed to be a lack of communication.
To be determined.
Yeah. I need to work on my communication skills.
Yeah. Well, I ain't gonna lie to you, buddy. Like this, I try to message you at least once a week or so. You know what I mean? Just to check in on you, make sure you're doing all right. I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't really been messaging anyone lately. You know what I mean? And it's probably my fault. But hey, listen, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But I try to stay in touch. At least once, sometimes twice. I don't know. Just see how everyone's doing. You know what I mean?
So I reckon we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
So gratefuls.
Yeah. All right. I'm grateful to be doing this podcast with you. You know what I mean? I'm really grateful to be a part of your recovery and for you to be a part of my recovery, man. I'm grateful to know who God is to me, and I'm just grateful to be alive today, man. I'm grateful I choose to be alive today.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it again. I'm grateful for that spiritual kindergarten.
Yeah.
For real. Allowing me to ease into that. That door opens up a little bit, and I get a peek inside, and the effects were undescribable. You know what I'm saying? I can close that door.
Yeah.
Or I can swing it open.
Yeah.
And I can pull it back too a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm human, and I do that. But life's a lot better when I leave that door open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm grateful for the ones in the rooms that were keen to that.
Yeah.
Really one specific. began just part of the fellowship. Early morning conversations, you know what I mean? At the coffee bar out there about God. You know what I mean? And to the point when I asked him to sponsor me, he was like, "Well, yeah." And I'm like,
it's kind of the same answer I got too.
I think it's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
but okay, all right, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm grateful to, I'm grateful to admit when I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Like I've been stuck. And the sponsor asked me to come up with a few questions.
Like questions as in.
I want answered.
Okay.
And I've already took a couple to prayer.
Yeah.
Like, I done worked the steps, bro. You know what I'm saying? I've already worked the steps.
Yeah.
And when I say stuck, I don't mean like, it's not necessarily in a bad way.
Yeah.
But I'm not tooting the horn when I say I came a long way in a short time.
Right.
The question is presented, how do I continue to progress?
Yeah.
And I'm not feeling progress.
Yeah. You feel like you're
Therefore, stuck.
Yeah. I get it.
So my question is, how do I get going again?
Okay.
Help me get going again. What do I do to get going?
Right.
And I think I already had the answer. It comes in the form of the 12th step. Yeah.
It's not to cut you off when you're grateful, but for me, I would pray about something, and maybe I didn't see the answer, maybe I didn't want to hear the answer, but it's like I would be anticipating the answer, and then it's like I already had the answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I still do it. I still do that. I don't do that all the time, but there's still, I got impatient when I pray now. You know what I mean? But I feel like sometimes it's like I pray for something. It's like it's not that I don't want the answer, but I'm overlooking the answer. You know what I'm saying? I already know what it is. I just haven't been paying too close attention to see that answer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I get it. I definitely do.
So that's my gratefulness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So join us next week for another episode of the Potluck Podcast.
Yeah.
We'll go out with a serenity prayer.
Yeah.
Just remember, Jesus sees us.
Absolutely.
Prayer.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today.